So, Deltarune, an unfinished game by Tony Henry Allen Scott Annoying Tricky Tony Fox, better known as Toby Fox. Deltarune is the sister title to Undertale, another game by Toby Henry Allen Scott Annoying Tricky Tony Fox. In this video, I'm going to explain the entire story of Deltarune Chapters 1 to 4 for anyone interested. In Chapter 1, an unknown person, presumably Gaster, who I will not be talking about in this video at length, makes you create a vessel which you would expect to be the character you play as, but it gets discarded. And you wake up as Chris Dreamer. Chris has to go to school and there's a project. Boo! Susie walks in and Alphys, your teacher, makes you and Susie go get chalk. Turns out Susie is eating chalk and she tells you your choices don't matter in a very nice manner where she doesn't slam you against the lockers and you both go in the closet. Turns out the closet isn't a closet, but in fact a dark world. You both fall in and almost get bodied by some random figure that we don't know yet and make it into the castle town. There's a prophecy that some random hooded guy tells you about, which is basically just, you guys are the heroes along with me, and we have to stop evil. Then Lancer busts in and you are thrown into a battle. You beat Lancer, then the hooded guy reveals himself as Rouse, the goat prince guy, that's a Darkener, which is, never mind. And then you all adventure around. Susie joins Lancer, then leaves because Lancer sucks at everything. Then, when you all arrive at Card Castle, Lancer locks you all up because his dad is a bum. Susie gets out, I forgot how, and she fights Lancer alone. She acts all mean and scary and keeps hitting him. Then you meet rules called Fight the King, who is evil and stuff. Then you and Susie seal the Dark Fountain and go back home. And it turns out Chris isn't you, as they rip her soul out of their body and throw you into a cage just to cut some pie that their mom made. In Chapter 2, you are back inside Chris and you go to school again. Chris, Susie, Birdly, and Noelle go to the library to research for the project. By the time Chris and Susie get there, though, there's another dark fountain inside the library, which this time is internet-based. You meet Queen, a goofy internet meme thing, and she steals Noelle for world domination or whatever. You fight Nerdly some parts. Afterwards, you are alone. Chris finds Noelle and they traverse the dark world together, fight Birdly again, with them heading a traffic jam with Queen in the car, by the way, and Chris has to go around the other way. He encounters the #1 rated salesman, 1997. He's just the embodiment of spam emails with viruses in them. He takes your money and then you get back with Noelle and Queen. Everyone arrives at a carnival thing. Queen leaves right before, and also Nerdly is there. Nerdly leaves, everyone gets captured except for my goat. Get the joke? Rouse. Everyone gets through Queen's castle. Rouse comes back to you. Chris and Rouse have a bit of bonding time. Then the fun gang fights Queen, who just turned Birdly into like a power source, basically. You seal the fountain again, and you're back. Chris, back at home, just leaves, slashes Toriel's tires, and makes a dark fountain in their own house. In Chapter 3, the fun gang meets up with Rouse just showing up while Susie and Chris wake up in there. Rouse talks about how he doesn't matter, which makes Susie mad, and then Tenna just interjects all of a sudden out of nowhere and forces everyone to play on his game show. Most of this chapter is just playing a super outdated game while Tenna acts very suspicious. By round 3, the game gets old and they stop playing, much to the dismay of Tenna. Tenna acts very suspicious. The fun gang does some more puzzles and finds out Tenna captured Chris's mom, and the fun gang gets captured and forced to play a really long segment of Tenna in denial that TV is old. You turn off the TV in an attack and escape TV world, where everyone is just leaving Tenna. When you get back to Tenna, it turns out he has a fear of being forgotten, and he's seen everything Chris's family has gone through, like Des disappearing and the divorce. They fight. Tenna is about to give back Toriel, but then he gets absolutely bodied by the Roaring Knight, who, if you're cracked in the game, you can beat, but they kill you regardless. But they let Chris off easy for some reason. They take Undyne away into the bunker. You get into the light world, run to the bunker, and it turns out that there's a code that you need to get inside of the bunker. In Chapter 4, you suddenly wake up with the fountain being sealed in your own house. Then you go to the church with Susie and try to find clues. Noelle lets you go to her house to work on the project, Everything seems to be going fine until you go into Des's room and try to read the code on the guitar. When you do, Chris rips you out of their body and you get to explore the holiday house. Just don't get too close to Chris. Someone on Chris's phone is talking about how Chris needs the soul, there's a police sacrifice, and Susie can't get the guitar, and they'll be back home as soon as possible. Chris eventually catches you and you are sent back into their body, which Noelle's mom eventually comes home, which is a little suspicious because she wasn't supposed to come home yet. And she does not approve of Susie having Des as a guitar. She kicks everyone out, gives Noelle a stern talking to that we don't get to see, and by the time you reach the church, there's a dark fountain in there. You go through it and meet Mr. Amald, and then you see more of the prophecy. You fight Scary Guy, you play Rock Climbing Simulator when the night shows up, and you seal the fountain. Turns out there are 2 dark fountains inside of the church. Also turns out Gerson is dead and the dark world was reviving him. Susie makes a dark fountain in place of the one that they just sealed to try and figure out how to break the lock to the other dark fountain and they wanted to get the advice from Gerson. He isn't in her dark world, and some random NPC at the end tells her the code. They go into the final dark world of the chapter and they find the knight again. The knight suddenly makes a dark fountain inside a dark fountain, creating a titan. Then you have to climb the titan for like 10 minutes in a really annoying section. You fight the titan, but you can't seem to beat it as it keeps healing. Right when the fun gang is about to give up, Gerson shows up and helps. Susie gets and does her idea of dunking Chris inside of the titan with her to seal the titan like a dark fountain, and it works. Susie sees that at the end of the prophecy, something really bad happens. We don't know what it is because Susie smashes it and laughs in his face. Rousey has an emotional breakdown, and you seal the fountain. Right when you get home with Susie, turns out Sans Undertale hooked up with your mom. This makes Chris really mad. Susie leaves and Chris can't sleep. Right before they jump out of their window to go somewhere unknown, someone on Chris's phone says that Chris promised something. Thank you for watching my botched explanation of Deltarune up to this point. I didn't cover the Snowgrave route or the secret bosses, but I still think this is a good explanation for the new players. My wrist hurts. I wrote this entire script in one sitting. Ow.